Alright, so basically what I want to do right now is just give you guys an overview of the bearings up close. You couldn't really see them in the last video. The lighting and the oil was kind of showing it wasn't really showing what was going on with the bearings and to see the overall condition. So from what I'm looking at right now, these bearings don't look that bad. Um, from other people's when they pull them off and they're showing them, you see huge pitting. You see a lot of pitting. You see almost like a whole layer taken off, and you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, well this is taken." Well, these aren't. This really doesn't show that crazy of a. These just look like normal wear. And I talked to the tech. He said they don't look that bad compared to what he's seen. So I wouldn't say these were on their way out. But I did pull up my oil analysis from Blackstone, so here it is. Aluminum, 6 part per million, which that's what these are made out of. We don't have the copper or the lead. We don't have the lead bearings, so we're not going to see any of those numbers. So we're seeing a normal. He says we don't see any reason to think that 6 part per million would be a problem for you for the aluminum count, which that's what these bearings are. So we're not seeing, according to this report was done, let's see, report date is going to be January 31st. So this was about 10 months ago, was pulled from the oil. And as you see, we're not really seeing any issues from the report. I did happen to go online and I was trying to search for any ones that got pulled that were similar to this, and the only one I could find, we'll go here and look on the MacBook, is these, and it says over here that rod bearings pulled from a 2012, which is the same year as mine, and with 30,000 miles, and these look almost exactly how mine came out. If his has even more wear, and I don't know if that was supercharged or not. Mine is supercharged. It was supercharged on these bearings for, I'd say, about 5,000 miles. But as we look at them, we're not really seeing that much wear. If you look on the other one, every bearing is showing a good amount of wear. These aren't in any order on my sitting right here in front of me. But if you look at like this one, like we didn't even get down to the I'm not sure what the next level is. If it's full aluminum, the color, I guess that's just the wear mark. I'm not sure. So we're just, some of these are. Let me grab something. This is a propeller off a drone. So if you see like this one, we're not seeing hardly any wear. This one's pretty good. Nothing, I would say, not that bad. Pretty good, pretty good. Nothing, nothing. And then as we get over here, pretty good amount of wear, pretty good amount of wear. Nothing, I'd say medium, medium. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And the last one, pretty good amount of wear. We're not seeing the crazy layers that the other ones are getting, and I'll go ahead and pull those up so you can see what the layering that I was expecting for these bearings to show. Just pulling something up on Google right here. So as you see, you have spots in here where it was just the bearing was getting a lot of wear in one specific area. I'm not sure how this is actually set up on the car, so I'm probably sounding like an idiot. But especially right here in this area, were really bad. But as I'm searching online, I'm trying to see most of the reports. Like this is what I expected. I expected to see a lot of wear. This is actually for an S54 engine, different. Here we go. So stuff like this. This is what I was expecting. Very bad areas of. Basically, it's taking down the material a shitload. So. And on ours, we're not really seeing any of that. We're seeing completely normal wear. And I think that, honestly, these could have gone another up to 100, 110, 120,000 miles till they had to be done. And this is coming from a supercharged car, which I was thinking within the past couple 6 months. I'm driving the car hard, and it's showing perfect wear, in my opinion. Our oil change interval, we're at about 10,000 miles, which I know I should be doing at 5,000 miles each. Actually, we've been at 5,000 since the last one. So these are actually these are going at 5,000 miles. I forgot my maintenance sheet. We were doing it every 5,000 miles so far, but some people are doing it every 3,000 for the oil change. So, like I said, this is getting pulled from 2012 e92 M3, and this is the newer version bearings. A lot of people are talking about the main bearings going. So if I'm seeing this much wear from the regular bearings, I think the main bearings are going to be similar, which I don't think we'll have an issue there. We're not really seeing clearance issues on those. But people are still blowing engines with the main bearing. Some people are just tracking the car really hard, and it's, they're throwing bearings. So if you have a newer generation, 2012, I suspect that you don't even have to change them out. I personally wouldn't. I know there's a couple ones that have blown, but just looking at these, I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think it's all overhyped. And it sucks because there's going to be that 1% chance that someone's going to blow a 30,000 mile engine on a 2013, and it's like, okay, well then, where does that put me? And that was my train of thought going into this, and being supercharged, I was worried even more just because of all the extra stress I'm putting on the engine, but looks fine on these. Right now we have the BE bearings and the ARP bolts in there, so this should be good until I sell the car. Shouldn't have any issues with those. And what's nice about the BE bearings is when we do the oil report, they do have a lead center or copper. I'm not sure. I forgot what it is, which material, but you'll be able to pull that up on the report, which on these ones you cannot pull up on the report. You can literally you can run these bearings all the way down, and you're not going to see any difference on the oil reports at all. You're going to see you're going to see small numbers, 6 part per million, 5 part per million, which is totally normal and is the universal average according to all the BMWs, all the S65s that they've done. It says average aluminum for this engine is 5 parts per million. So I came in at 6, and our bearings look like this. So just the only takeaway I would do from this, if you were in my situation, is just use this as a data point to see that I had 65,000 miles when these were changed. I was supercharged for 5,000 miles, and oil changes were done every 5,000 miles of my ownership. I acquired the car at 54,000 miles almost under a year ago. So I'm guessing this car had the maintenance package on it, so they were taking the car in every 10,000 miles because the iDrive tells you when the car needs to get serviced. It's not just bring it in every certain amount of miles. The iDrive will automatically tell you when to change oil. So not really big change over here. That's what they look like. This is a huge bullshit epidemic that's going on. That's a select amount of cars. I think if you have one of the earlier year cars, definitely get it checked out. Those are the ones that I've seen online. Those ones are the ones throwing the spinning bearings and the trash in the motors, just because they didn't address the issue until 2000. I believe I'm not sure exactly when it was, but you need to check the build date and look on the forums to see when your build date was and when the new bearings were actually put in. I know it's on the LCI M3, so newer generation. So that's pretty much it. Just another thing is, when you do your rod bearings, make sure they do the motor mounts. The motor mounts, when they're pulling everything off, they're right there. It's one screw to take off the motor mount as soon as they drop the oil pan, and it makes a huge difference in the car. My car feels 10 times better with the new motor mounts. It feels solid. It feels way more responsive. The steering feels better. When I turn on M dynamic mode or M mode and it adjusts the steering feel, it actually, now I can tell there's a difference. Before, the motor mounts super soft. They were shot. They showed in my previous video, we went over it, but the motor mounts were cracked on the top, and it was basically just riding on. And now these motor mount, it was basically just riding on nothing. Nothing was supporting the engine. I was missing actually shifting the car because the engine was torquing. And when you try to shift and the engine is in a different position because the motor mounts aren't holding it still, your engine and your shift gate actually turns with the transmission and you cannot go into gear. It's very hard to get into gear. You can sometimes get it in. This also happens on shifts from 1 to 2. And from all my personal research, I've seen that all the motor mounts are shot after around 50,000 miles. So get that done. You can change the motor mounts without doing the rod bearings. There is a do-it-yourself on the forums. You don't have to drop any oil pans. I haven't done it myself. Like, they just got it done since they were doing the rod bearings anyway. They went ahead and did this. So that's just the overview and the data point that I want to show on these bearings. And they don't look too bad. They look pretty good. I'm kind of shocked. I expected way more wear, but I was actually hoping the engine was almost about to blow, just to feel like, yes, I got my, it was a good investment to do this, but I feel like, could have went longer, and not so much a waste of money, but we're ensuring that we don't want to blow an engine. So just keep it at that. And if you've done the rod bearing service and you're a newer generation, leave a comment below and let me know how yours came out. I'm wondering if most of the newer rod bearings, seems like the issue was addressed, but it wasn't totally fixed. We're still seeing blown engines. So that's pretty much it. Wanted to show this off, and that's it. Comment, subscribe, and see you guys later.